I don't have much in there, but,
That's okay.
things happened.
You know what I
Um,
do wanna talk about, 'cause I did leave the title Reacts Rain. Like, let's talk about where Remix could possibly go with Preact and, like, not that's
yeah,
fascinating.
yeah, I wanna get into just, like, a larger conversation as well, because I took a couple things out of the State of JS survey, and it just leads to, like, bigger picture thinking for me right now.
Mm, that's
But
good.
if we wanna start out with some banter, we could start off with
Okay.
some high school reunion talk.
Okay, hold on. Let me retweet this because 'cause I'm gonna start adding tweets now that my initial
Yeah, yeah,
tweet
yeah.
is I got great thank you for everybody. I don't even think anybody's on here yet, but thank you everybody for engaging in that post. So, that was, like, probably my all-time top performing post. So,
Oh, that
the
yes.
job
That's
the
good.
job thing. So, thank you. Let's see, there we are. Let's re let's quote this. Talking about the state of JavaScript survey. Okay, post. Okay. Yeah, let's hear I'm surprised you went to the reunion. I'm like, "I'm never going to a high school reunion."
You know, like, don't get me wrong, I talk to who I talk to, and I'm cool with
Yeah,
that, but, like, I just can't say no to a big social event. Like, I guess I am an extrovert at heart,
that's
even if
awesome.
I tend to shut down sometimes. Like, I was like, "Whatever, we're gonna go to Topgolf." We get
Oh,
a
fun.
husband and wife weekend away with no kids
Yeah,
in Dallas and Fort Worth. Like, this sounds like a great time. Sign me up. Oh,
yeah,
by the way, you'll see a bunch of old high school friends and maybe
yeah.
some people you don't remember. So we did it, and we made a whole weekend out of it. We stayed in Dallas the first night and met up with like two of the friends that I actually talked to, and so we just like hung out in this cool area in downtown Dallas. Um, and then Saturday, we had a lunch with, like, the physics group. Guys, like, the nerdy friends that I had in high school that we spent a lot of time
Yeah.
together. That was
So
good.
so what were you in high school? Like, what group? Were you a nerd?
I was I was primarily oh, yeah, I wasn't popular. I
Really?
was primarily, band and drumline, so that's what I did. Band was life,
Really?
and then outside of that, I was we just did a lot of physics homework together because it was so damn hard, and we would all just get together and hang out at people's houses and do, like, physics equations and stuff.
That surprises
Uh
me. Brad, I thought you were so much cooler than I am, or
No,
I
no, no,
was.
I'm not cool at all. Not even close.
Because I was in band too. I was I played the French
French
horn.
horn? French horn is
Yeah.
sick, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I that's awesome. Yeah, I was in band and I don't know, I just never in some ways, I mean, I had friends in band. I had a lot of friends that were older than me in band. So, like, I feel like my best year is my junior year. But there were some people that I don't know, never felt like I totally fit in band. And then they were like I mean, I took AP classes and stuff like that, so I guess I was a
Yeah.
nerd, but I didn't feel like I was fit in with the nerds either. So and I
Mm.
just felt like kind of like a floater in some ways. I mean, I wasn't. I had solid friends. And actually, I bet if some of those friends heard me saying that, their feelings would be hurt. But,
Well, t
I don't know. It's
speaking of,
just
like, hurt feelings, like, we had a class of, like, 1,000,
Mhm.
and this being the 20-year reunion, we had about 120 people show up. Um,
That's great.
I had people walk up to me and start conversations that I had no idea who they were, despite looking at their name tag. I'm like, "It's not ringing a bell. I just don't know what to say." But the problem is, like, they weren't band people. Like, I could tell you any
Mm.
band person's
Yeah.
name, like, and I went and, you know, looked for those people and
Yeah.
said hey to them. Not that many. But, like, everybody else who came up to me, I'm just like, "If I had freaking a random science class with you, how am I ever supposed to
Oh.
anchor that to a memory?" You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I guess people
What
remembered me.
how big was your, band?
The band was probably 300 people.
Okay. I I don't remember the numbers. I need to go back and look. It's the the only way I know to look is to count everybody in the yearbook.
Oh
But,
my god.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like my high school is the same size as that, but I talked to a parent recently, and they were making the numbers sound like it was a fourth of that.
Hmm.
like that our whole school was 1,200, but I thought our whole school was like closer to 4,000. But I don't know. I probably got confused somewhere.
Do you remember if you were like 5A, 4A, 3A, what you fell
We were
into?
top division, whatever that was, like
Okay,
the
5A.
biggest
Yeah,
division. Yeah, we were the biggest division. And
that's what
like
we were.
my I think my senior year too. I know for sure. Well, yeah, I think my junior and my senior year we won state.
Oh, sick.
Which I mean was a big deal. Yeah. And the school I went to, well, this is where I start. I don't mean to brag. The school that I went to is like ranked the best in the state. So
Nice.
yeah, it was.
Well,
I
my
feel like high school is harder than college.
oh, wow. My bragging moment for high school is, the Pentatonics came from my high school.
Did they?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years behind us.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah.
We let's see, who did I think my time overlapped with Kesha.
No way.
Yes.
Was she
Yeah,
very
I
academically
think
sound at this challenging school?
no, and I saw a video of her with people I do remember. I don't remember her at all. I saw her in a video from, like, middle school with people I do remember playing in a band thing. So
That's
she was, like,
wild.
doing music stuff then. Yeah, what's funny is the school that my kids go to, Miley Cyrus went to.
Oh my gosh. Well, there you
So,
go. Like, Kesha and Miley
Nashville.
Cyrus. Yep.
Nashville, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Okay, let's see. That's enough high school chat. Oh man, high school. I only keep up with one person from high school.
Yeah, that's basically me, like,
Okay.
one person. And even then, me and him, like, kinda drifted apart for a little bit
Mm, mhm.
and then came back together. Like,
Yeah.
just
How
how it
does
goes.
how does Gabby do in those social situations? Does she like
It's
I feel like she did great hanging out with us, a bunch of nerds.
Yeah, I would say she can be on the shy side, yet
Mm,
at the same time, she is, like, one of the most social people I know,
yeah.
but I think her situation is if all eyes are on her, she hates it, but if she's just
Mm,
kinda part of the conversation, she
yeah.
loves it, and
Yeah.
so she's like, "I'm gonna fool somebody tonight that I went to this high school." And so she was, like, making games out of it and having fun. She was just kinda, like, along for the ride, enjoying
Yeah.
herself.
That's so funny. Yeah, I realized the other day, I was like, because I've worked remote for 15 years, basically, or 13 years, our entire marriage. Henry's never had to come to any work event at all. And
Yeah,
so sometimes I'm like, how would he do in those situations? He was Mr. Popular apparently in his school and he was
really.
valedictorian. Yeah. So
Oh, see, there's there's, like, different types of valedictorians, the ones that are,
yes,
like, locked in their room only doing schoolwork,
yes,
or there's that
yes,
well-rounded, well-liked valedictorian. That's what
yes.
ours was.
Uh-huh.
Became a doctor, met his high school
Yep.
sweetheart at
Yep.
school, was in band with us, was in
Yeah.
physics with us, like, just everybody knew him and liked him. It was
Yes,
that kinda thing.
yes, yes. That's the way I feel like ours was, which crazy enough, I ran into our valedictorian in San Francisco because he was on
Whoa.
stage as a VC. I was like,
Whoa.
"I didn't know you made it, bud." Oh, man. Crazy. Okay, let's talk about real stuff. Not that that's not real. Tech stuff. Oh,
Tech
I'll do
stuff.
the official
We need to
intro.
intro yeah. Start the podcast.
My I'm all over the place. Today is one of those days. Okay, audio, audio, audio. There we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Compressed FM, a podcast all about web design and development with a little bit of zest. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the state of JavaScript and all the things related to.
Web development and design, who would have guessed? Well, we can do them both, even add a little zest. So turn up the volume, get ready for the best. Let's get it started in this episode of Compress.
Hello, my name is Amy Dutton, and I am currently in between jobs.
Hey, y'all, my name is Brad Garapi, and I am gainfully employed at Cloudflare.
Ooh, oof, the gainfully employed. Oh,
Hey,
good.
we've all been through it. I feel like I can make light of it now because I
Uh-huh.
went through it.
Yeah, and you survived. You got out on the
I
other side.
survived. Yeah,
Yeah, so I
that's great.
have, like, 7 calls this week, so I am feeling good. It's when the calls dry up that I know I'll start to panic.
Yeah, this is the fun time. You get to talk to a bunch of different companies. You
Yeah,
get to explore new options. Hopefully, do really, really well at interviews, that kind of stuff.
yeah, awesome. So today we're going to be talking about the state of JavaScript. I haven't taken it yet, but one of the things that I appreciate about any of the state of services is that a lot of times it will unveil things that I'm not familiar with, like new techniques, new functions, new processes. I think, looking at even the state of CSS, I've been stuck in CSS for the last 25 years, and there are certain ways that I do things, but there are new properties, new uh, values, and things that you can do that will make it more efficient, make it better. And so, a lot of times, these surveys are great just to get a summary of the new stuff. So, I know, for example, in JavaScript, a big thing is dealing with time. Do we have our time functions yet? Stuff like
And
that.
temporal, yeah,
Yep.
it's not there yet.
It's coming. I feel like that's, the ongoing joke, right? And
Yeah, but okay. I guess we'll start from the beginning and then we'll give big takeaways. But I take these surveys generally to see if I'm falling behind, or
mhm.
is there a
Yep.
bunch of stuff that I don't know about? I take these surveys to remind myself of like features that I don't use and probably should. Um, and I take these surveys just generally to like try and give feedback on things, to keep and like just have a pulse on where things are. And so they have a bunch of different sections, and a lot of it is about JavaScript, the language itself, and then
Mm.
you've got your front end frameworks, and then you've got your meta frameworks, and then like
Yep.
other tools. Um, I guess let's start with the language itself. I feel like this is the category where in a lot of cases I'm like, oh, I've never really used those APIs
Mhm.
because I don't need them, right? Like
Mhm. Yep.
I find myself saying that a lot, like, "Oh, yields and generators and all that stuff," and, like, new they have a float 16 array. I'm just like, I just don't do the kind of programming that
Yeah.
would need those APIs.
Yeah. Or a lot of times, if I'm being honest, I'll reach for a library that wraps that API to make it easier, which I hate that API is not easy enough that I can't just use the API native, but the libraries make it so much easier. Like, the main one I'm thinking about is drag and drop. You have native drag and drop within JavaScript, but there's so many libraries that make that so much easier to handle.
Especially when it comes to integrating with frameworks and state and stuff like that. That's where I think you really need the bridge there.
Accessibility, yeah, all the things.
But, yeah, I'm looking at this and, like, some things that stand out are just, like, really nice that we have now is, like, string replace all, string match all. Those are great, we didn't have them before.
Mhm.
A bunch of set operations, so now JavaScript has set, and you can do, like, difference, union, intersection, things like that. Object.groupBy came out, now that's baseline? Yeah, now that's baseline. Um, that's great. Couple new promise methods. Like, all this stuff is good. I'm at the point where I feel like I don't really want a whole lot more out of JavaScript beyond temporal.
Mhm.
How do you feel in that regard? Like, is the language complete? Are we good?
Well, I think back to, I guess we had Josh Goldberg on the show a few weeks ago, and he was
Mhm.
saying, like, "I feel like we always have to grow, otherwise you're stagnant." So, in that regard, I feel like we have to grow like, for growth's sake, like, there's not anything in particular that I'm like, "Oh, man, we need that," especially native. Um, I can't think of anything either. Most
I
uh,
am the one who says, like, "Let's stabilize a tool set, please." Uh, that's just the way I think, because then
yeah.
when you stabilize a tool set and everybody comes together and starts building the same thing, we can all speak the same language, we all have the same problems, and we can all solve them, like, kinda together. Whereas when it diverges, everybody's solving different problems, and it's kinda
Mm,
hard to come back and, like, make the base, which is JavaScript, the language, better. Um,
yeah.
I will say, though, the one question that really got me thinking was like, "Okay, if you could add one thing or if there's one big
Mhm.
pain point, what is it?" And it's types. We still don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
types, but we're all using TypeScript. So
Right.
let's just shoehorn that in. Let's, as Chris Coyier would say,
Yeah.
pave the cow path. Like, everybody's already doing
Yeah.
it. Let's just get it into the language.
Yeah, that I would be pro that. But I mean, like, for that to be adopted, what has to happen? The browsers have to support that natively?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how it's implemented. So, and this was a great question in the survey. If you were to see types in JavaScript, how would you want to see them? Are
Mm,
they just JS doc style comments where they can just ship today and be fine? Uh, are they type
hmm,
annotations that are compiled away? Or are they typings that are actually supported at runtime? And each one of those has a different level of support that the language and the browsers would have to build in. But obviously, JSDoc requires zero support. They're all comments.
yeah,
Type annotations would need a little compiler, kind of like TSC, to just strip them
mhm,
out. Or runtime types would mean that like you would actually have to make changes in the browser in the JavaScript language to like handle these and validate these at runtime.
yeah. I mean, the nice thing about the setup right now is that it can be forgiving. And, like, I think about sometimes the stuff that I have on my machine in dev is more forgiving than what runs on production. So one of the most frustrating things is when I get a project running locally and I get ready to deploy, say, to Vercel and it breaks, and then I've gotta go through the logs, figure out what's happening, and then after a couple times of back and forth, I'm like, "This is dumb. I need to just build it on my computer. That way I'm not waiting for it to run on this build on the server." And it's like kind of this back and forth dance to be able to launch a project or to be able to update it. And so I just wonder, like, I don't really want that to happen. I mean, maybe that doesn't matter if you're coding in the browser locally, anyways. Maybe that's more of a development versus production problem than it is a like shipping types to the browser problem.
I think I'm on team like runtime types. Like make it a first class citizen in
Yeah.
the language. If we're gonna do this, let's do it. Don't just do this like dip your toe
Yeah.
into the water. We're gonna compile them away. They're just for development's sake.
Yep.
No, like let's grow up this language.
Yeah.
Um, I know some people are still hesitant to pick up TypeScript, Dave Rupert being one of them, and I love to cite
Really?
other, like,
That
podcasters who
always
say this, but I just feel like it's a better developer experience and it's
yeah.
safer code, like,
Yeah.
let's just do it.
After it catches some of your bugs, y it's hard not to, like, fall in love with TypeScript or know, like, this is why, or even just from a self-documentation standpoint when you're dealing with somebody else's code. It just makes things so much nicer.
It was literally, like, 2 weeks ago, I was refactoring a component from JavaScript to TypeScript in, Cloudflare's Codebase, and I found, like, the most ridiculous logic bug where I corrected a typo in an object property and made the types, safe all the way
Mhm,
down, but something changed because, like, we were expecting a different type of capitalization on the
mhm.
object property, so we were, like, incorrectly checking undefined, and, it blew up, and it's like, you might as well just catch all of those errors.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, and the nice thing about it, to your point, doing it during runtime is that, like, you catch all of that while you're developing. You don't have to actually run your build commands to see those errors. And I think that's what I wanna see, is if it's gonna blow up, I wanna blow up while I'm developing, not like everything run fine and then you get ready to launch and you're hustling to launch and you can't launch because there's now all of a sudden all these errors that you've gotta deal with.
You mean like what? Like, meaning running TSC would fail on
Oh.
your in your build server, or, like, what do you mean?
Yeah, or maybe I just wanna see an error on the page. I don't know. It's maybe sometimes you just have to check those problems section. Um,
Mhm.
and I haven't, to be honest, I haven't dug through it enough to know, okay, is my TS config different on my server than on my development environment? Like, I'm not sure why there's that differentiation, but I'll run into issues where it's like, this is a type mismatch or something like that. That's one of the logs that'll come through. And it's like, oh, I've got to go figure out why that's not working. And I'm like, why didn't I catch that during development? I should have.
Yeah, it's like you'll change something over here, and it's used over there, and
Oh,
because you
I
didn't
see.
run your full
Yeah, that's
type check
probably right. Yeah.
beforehand, you
Yes,
didn't
that's
see it, like,
probably
in
it.
your editor directly in
Yeah.
front of you,
I
and
just
that
like,
is
tell me
frustrating.
all the
It's like
things.
yeah, it's like, "Oh, right, shit. Like now I got to go to my CI server,
Yes.
click into logs, find what other file is failing, and
Yes.
go back and do that. A lot of people take care of that stuff with like pre-commit hooks, like Husky and
Yes.
stuff, but
Yes.
I cannot stand that stuff. Like
Yeah, it drives me
a lot
crazy
of
too.
times I just want to offload that like just number crunching type stuff. Like
Uh-huh.
whatever, send it. I'm gonna keep working, and then you tell me the types I missed in a different file, and I'll
Mhm.
go fix them.
There is a setting in VS Code or Cursor or whatever your ID is, where you can turn it on, where it'll watch all the things, but they will tell you when you turn that on, this is memory intensive. Be careful.
I believe the new Go-based TypeScript will possibly address this problem. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
that'd
sure
be
it still
lovely.
has an upper limit,
Yeah.
but apparently it's way faster, and we're
Mhm.
getting closer.
Yep. So maybe that's what we need. JavaScript written in Go.
JavaScript. Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking, everybody.
Um, okay, slight change of subject. Browser APIs. This is an area where I feel like I'm actually pretty far behind on because again, they're
Mm.
very use case specific. Um, I'm just gonna rattle off a bunch and you tell me if you've used them or not.
Oh, no. This is gonna be embarrassing.
Right? Yeah, I was low on this list. Okay, I'll tell you what I have used, and then I'll go back and tell you what I haven't. How about that?
Okay.
I've used WebSockets, the Page
Mhm.
Visibility API, the Geolocation API, and Progressive Web Apps.
Okay.
I haven't used Web Animations, WebRTC, Web Speech API, Broadcast Channel API, Gamepad API, WebAuth API, Scheduler API.
Yeah, there's a few. So I'm curious with the animation. Oh, I've used the animation API before. So I'll tell you the use case. If I can remember it, I'm a little fuzzy,
Is this
but
like the request animation frame
yes,
situation?
yes. And I used it with my audio player, my custom audio player. So if you go
Mm,
watch those videos on YouTube, we do use that API. And I think there's like this weird, oh man, this was like 2 years ago. So take this with a grain of salt, look it up before you use it based on what I'm gonna say. But there was some weird situation where it's like you can't necessarily rely on one of the rates, like the refresh rate or the animation rate or something like that, because it has to do with the GPU and how it's able to process. And when you're
mhm.
talking about an audio file, you want it to be able to track time and be able to update the time properly and move that progress bar along based on where you're at with time. So you had to do something strange to use that API to make sure that it was updating that properly.
Otherwise, it was kind of
It wouldn't be
only
accurate.
receiving animation updates when it kind of got around to it type thing.
Something weird like that, or,
Yeah,
if it's processing and your computer's, like, chugging, it
right,
would say, like, 5 seconds equals 1 second. Well, that's not right. So,
right.
you had to, like, hook into that API to be able to get that to work properly.
You're, like,
Um
scheduling yourself for animation
Mhm.
updates, like,
Yeah,
ensuring
yeah,
you've got priority.
that's right. And then there's another Broadcast. I've never used that one, but I believe that's like a really old one from the days of pop-ups, right? Where you can have one pop-up window talking to another window and you're broadcasting that out. I think that's what that API is.
That I thought that was the post message
Oh, that's
feature.
probably it. Okay.
Um, this I don't know. No, this was released in I don't know. Widely available since
AMLI.
2024, 9/14,
That's not
so
it
about a
then.
year ago.
Pop-ups are gonna be like 15 years ago.
Oh, you're right, though. Broadcast Channel API allows you to send messages between same origin
Huh.
browsing context. Oh, such as between the same page loaded in multiple tabs. Okay.
Oh,
So from
similar.
the same origin, you can send
Yep.
messages to different tabs.
Yep. Sweet. Yes.
Post
Got it
message
right.
would handle the iframe situation where I believe it's cross origin. Something.
Mm. Mhm.
Anyways, yeah, a
Uh,
lot of these I just haven't used, and
have you done
it's like a use case thing, you know?
Have you done anything with view transition? Is that considered that's that's browser?
It's not mentioned at all here. I think it's more of a CSS thing.
That's interesting because or maybe I'm just thinking in terms of polyfill, you have to have the JavaScript piece to do it if your browser doesn't support it from a CSS level. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I like really I think there's still JavaScript stuff that you gotta do. Anyways, that's one that I really wanna dig into just because I've seen some of the code samples that Jay and Adam have put out for
Yeah.
both formerly on the Google team, neither one are on the Google team anymore, but that stuff they do is incredible, and I think that would just it looks so easy, or at least the way they describe it's easy, but I haven't been able to wrap my head around it, and I know there's frameworks like Astro that have wrappers built in to make it easy.
Yeah. It's not that bad. I think you put, like, an ID on 2 different elements, that could be on 2 different pages, and the
Yeah,
browser just figures out how to
figures it out.
animate the thing from here to there, and, it
I
really
think
makes the web feel different. Like, when you
yeah,
see like, anytime you see, like, a new color in a new color space,
yep,
if your monitor supports it, or, like, see one of these new view transitions, you go, "I just didn't know that the internet could do that," and it
yeah.
feels so fresh.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go out on a limb again. I think the ID thing is when it's on the same page. If you're transitioning pages, then it's a little bit different. And I
Mm.
think with frameworks, it gets a little bit even more complex because you're talking about is this a client like a
Yep.
spa app or is this like a server rendered page app? And so how you would handle those in that situation would be different.
And I think that's why frameworks needed to support this, quote
Yeah.
unquote, because you can't just send like a new payload and rehydrate and act like it's going to work. It has to
Yep.
come from the server so that the browser can see my new HTML payload has this matching tag and you've got a
That's
view
right.
transition defined. So, yeah, I think they had to do a little bit of like server rendery stuff in
Yep.
order to deliver that HTML to make the
Yep.
experience happen.
Okay. Good, I'm glad you can confirm my
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
Uh,
okay, moving on. The next kind of hunk of questions was about frameworks generally, and
oh, my specialty.
well, not meta frameworks, just frameworks.
Oh.
So not all the different React ones, but we're talking Solid, we're talking Quick, we're
Oh,
talking Svelte, we're talking React.
yeah.
And I'm realizing I'm getting more and more stale here
Uh,
because my job and my life and all my side projects are React, and
yeah,
I just haven't explored really anything else in a long time.
yeah. I am familiar with Svelte. I'm not like I'm not no pun intended. I'm not solid on all the ruins and the new signal stuff.
Yeah.
But I do love Svelte. I have no experience with Quick or Solid, and I really want to level up with Solid because I've heard great things about it. And
That's
what's
the one I would pick
interesting,
as well.
what's
Solid,
in
I've heard, is awesome. It's still JSX based. It
yeah.
uses signals, so it's like a better ergonomic React.
Yeah. And I think what's most interesting to me about Solid is it's not the most popular, but I would argue most influential. And by that, I mean other frameworks are adopting the principles in the way that I think it's Ryan has implemented a lot of that stuff. So even though you don't have the most people using it, you probably have the most developers or maintainers watching it.
Yeah, okay, talk about something that should come to the JavaScript language is signals, because if
Mm.
we can put signals into JavaScript, all of these frameworks will change
Mhm.
how they do things.
Yep.
Everything will move to signals. React will kind of be forced to move to signals, which will change the entire like state
Oh yeah.
management pattern, which is just amazing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think I really do need to check out Solid Start.
On the list. Officially. Do you wanna talk about meta frameworks? Are we ready for that?
Um, well, okay, let's zoom out a little
Mhm.
before we transition and say, is React still king? Um, and I
Yes.
suppose that question, yes, Amy's like, no, there's no nuance. The answer is yes.
Can we finally
Um,
dump React for Svelte?
I still think the answer is yes, hands down. If you want to work in this
Yeah,
industry, you need to be a React developer.
right.
Um,
Uh, and that's why
and
I
you
say it's
find,
king. Not that it's
yeah,
the best, but that it's king.
and the ecosystem is hands down the biggest. If you want
Yep,
a package, if you want a component library, just think about
yep,
that. How many React component libraries do we have that are like A plus, right? We've
yes.
got a lot of them. Um, I just can't name that many for other frameworks. And so at the end of the day, I think if
Yeah.
you're gonna build some kind of a product, you're gonna be reinventing the wheel for, like, every package you need. Your drag and drop package, your form package, your component library, your observability, like, all that type of stuff, you're gonna have to go find solutions
Yeah.
for. I'm sure they're out there, but you probably have just, like, less support and less options.
Well, and here's the thing, even if you don't like React, let's look at the entire ecosystem and how many legacy projects there are. I mean, I really think that's why Remix was like, we have to give React Router our full attention because we have so many people still on React Router. And I also think that's why more people haven't adopted React Server Components because you have all of these legacy projects that you just can't upgrade or
Right, like, no big company said, "We're running Create React app, and now we're gonna transition to Next.js."
yeah,
That didn't happen.
it's a
Everybody with a
huge
one
shift.
giant spa just still has one giant spa, and React Router is a great step away from that, but you can't
Yep,
go from Create React app to Next.js. You can go from Create
right,
React app to React Router because you installed React Router after you did Create
right.
React app anyways, like, so, yeah, this ecosystem it's not stagnating, it's just, like, setting in roots, and all
Mhm.
the big older projects are, like, feel like so entrenched in the way they do things that framework authors and package authors, like, have to take that into account when they're building things.
Yep, and it's easy to look at tech Twitter. Do you call it tech text? Well, it's easy
Text
to look
X no
online. I was like, "What do you
that's
call it?"
awesome.
I was like, "I don't know."
Tech Twitter,
It's
yeah.
okay, just double checking. If you look at tech Twitter, it would be easy to think everybody uses the latest and greatest, but you and I have been on enough big tech projects or seen enough legacy projects to know that that's not the case. They're just not the loudest projects. Man, we had projects that had jQuery, CoffeeScript, JavaScript, React, probably even Vue all in the same project. Like, I know that's terrible architecture, but it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so React is still king. Um, what flavor of React are we using then? That becomes the question. Also another area where I'm becoming a little bit less and less familiar, although, like, Next, Remix, Astro, like, I've got experience with all of those. They even mentioned Docasaurus in the meta
Mm,
framework
mhm,
category, which I always
mhm.
find a little bit weird.
Yeah.
It seems like a kind of like a almost like a static site documentation generator almost. I don't know.
It didn't list Starlight, did it?
It didn't list Starlight, no.
Like, how could you not list Starlight? I mean, I know it's a
Right.
branch of I say branch, it's a flavor of Astro. It's a template, a theme for Astro,
Yeah.
but to me, DocuSource is the same thing.
Um, comment in the chat, and I have to bring this up because I've been feeling this way too. And I'll kinda say something even bigger picture. So, as this transition to RSEs happened, I feel like the framework wars generally kind of cooled off. Like, RSE has been taking a really long time. Different frameworks have released support for it on kind of very different timelines, with Next being very early, with Redwood being later, with Remix being or React Router being, uh, the latest, but nobody seems to care very much, and in that time, in my head, I've stepped back and be like, "Man, what if we just had a spa with a back end?"
Mhm,
Um, and that's React for me, it'd be React, Vite, and Hano on the back end and just do that. So many of the biggest apps today are exactly that stack.
mhm,
And you don't have to worry about the meta framework part that is constantly changing and evolving
mhm.
this network boundary part. Just make an API and hit it. And
Yeah. I need to
what's so
dig into
wrong with that?
Hano. I need to dig into Hano.
It's
Okay, so
expressed, but it's just express with like
okay,
web request response. That's it. It's
got it.
no, yeah, easy.
Okay, so this is my take right now. I think really the biggest differentiator with these meta frameworks, if say they all have RSC, is the router. That's really the only thing is what is your routing preference? With Next, do you like the file folder based system? With Remix slash React Router 7, do you like the config based setup? And I mean, that's basically what Redwood is too. So that's the question.
But even then, React Router gives you a choice. You can do
Yeah.
file-based routing, you can do
Yep.
config-based routing, you could do both. I mean,
Yep.
it's everything. So
Yep.
at the end of the day, my take
Or
is that it's more about data loading patterns. Whose
well,
actions I know that'll probably all just fall into React at some
yeah.
point, but
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
whose
say.
actions do you like the most? But I think React Story hasn't settled yet, or at least, like,
Yeah.
we
So
haven't popularized the approach yet.
there's something else that I was gonna say with the framework. I don't remember. But you are totally right though about um sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Wah, wah.
Actions,
bear, with,
React
bear
server
with us.
functions.
Yeah, so I would say that here's the thing with all that stuff is the React. Like, so when we were working on the Redwood stuff, and I'm trying to figure out how do I implement all these server actions, I'm looking at the React documentation. It's all the React setup. It's not Next. And people conflate Next and React because Next was the first one to implement all those things, but it is just all React. And I would say, in terms of data loading, all that really is RSC. All those patterns are the same.
If you're doing component by component data loading. If you want route-based data loading, that's different.
Yes, that is true.
And I think that is a big meta framework difference, where
But even
React Router and
then,
Remix were very like, "Here is your route. Tell me everything you need loaded right now."
yeah.
Yes, they
Oh,
now have better ways to, like, suspend and load things in a
right.
waterfall if you want to.
But still, it's like if you're looking at your page as an entire component. I know what I was gonna say. The other thing has to do with frameworks is how do you want your page rendered? Do you want a static site? Do you want server generated? Do you want client generate? Like all those things. Now that is framework specific. And I would say in that case, Next is winning that race because you have all of those options within a single framework.
Or TanStack, but I found TanStack to be I think it's probably the most flexible.
Mm.
But I found it to be, like, a little bit more, like, config heavy and verbose to
Mhm.
define this kinda stuff, and
Yeah.
so I never really jumped into it. But now the ecosystem is getting so good over there with, like, TanStackDB, TanStack Forms, TanStack Router, TanStack Start, like,
Mhm.
pretty much everything that you need, it's probably worth giving another look.
I really like Tanner a whole lot. I just haven't been able to get into that
Yeah,
ecosystem, and I
yeah.
think some of it is the fact that all those things are branded. It almost feels like Laravel in that sense. Laravel has, like, Socialite or, whatever their author file system, and that's overwhelming for somebody coming in. The irony is it's not like Next or React Router 7 don't offer those things. It's just presented as a more cohesive whole than these separate products that you almost have to add on.
A and I think that's what I want, like,
You want it added on or you want it all included?
no, I like T TanStack presents itself as many disparate things, which is
Yeah,
great because you can pick pieces of it off the shelf, and that
right.
you should be able to do that. But as I get older and as I get lazier and as I wanna build a side project and not think about 70,000 things that I need to install, give me the Laravel for JavaScript. Put
Yeah.
it all in one thing, bundle it all together, and say, "This is every tool you could ever need, it's already included. This is how you use each one of them." It just feels too separate.
Now, what's interesting is I would say Redwood SDK is pretty
Yeah,
close,
yeah.
but here's the thing. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily Redwood. I would say it's more the fact that they tied themselves to Cloudflare, and you get all that stuff with Cloudflare.
I still don't love database binding with Cloudflare and meta frameworks. I don't like it. I don't like how
Like the Wrangler.json C file?
yeah, more specifically, the differentiation between running a DB locally and running it in production. And
Okay.
when I'm doing npm run dev, I want this to
Okay.
be hitting a local database, and when I'm doing, pushing to prod, I want that to be using the bound, database in Cloudflare. I had to do so much work in Drizzle in the
Oh.
ORM layer essentially to be able to figure out which database you want to hit because the
Okay.
ORMs don't quite have that knowledge yet of like, oh, we're running dev, use a different database adapter and point locally,
Mm.
which for Cloudflare means a SQLite file on your machine, which is like a whole different set of hoops you got to jump through in the ORM.
Yeah. I think with Redwood SDK, we just had a flag on the command. So
Yeah, but the code under the hood to make that
I
happen
have no idea what Justin did.
is kind of nuts.
Okay.
I did it for like the Remix Austin uh, meetup website,
Uh-huh.
and Brooks like confirmed like it was the right approach, but it was pretty janky.
Hmm.
Going into a hidden folder, looking for the .SQLite file, like that kind of stuff.
So this is veering slightly because it's not really Meta framework. It is something most Meta frameworks implement for you. How did you think about Drizzle? Because I know we're Prisma lovers over here.
Still a Prisma lover. I also like okay, here's where I'm coming from. I trust Prisma, the library. It's been great for me. And now they're offering database hosting. So and it's kind of exactly what you need. It's cheap Postgres with backups. I so I trust them. I'm gonna use that. And I just feel like they're giving me the whole storage solution, which is
Mm, mhm.
perfect. It's less thinking,
Yeah.
right? With Drizzle, I gotta go find a different place to host Postgres. You don't wanna go to Supabase because they charge you for extra crap. Uh, gotta find like a Postgres host, like, you know, um, some of it's just raw Postgres, no backups, no nothing else. So then it becomes a whole thing.
Yeah.
I I like Prisma's, you know, paid hosting plan. I think it's still the right choice.
Yeah.
And generally, I like authoring Prisma stuff way better than Drizzle schemas.
Drizzle.
Uh, Prisma's like VS Code uh, language server is so good for their schemas.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. It auto completes really well. I get that
Yeah.
Drizzle ties in better with TypeScript. I have had some Prisma problems like generating types, but for the most part, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. I I think I would still pick well, think I'd still pick Prisma at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The thing about Drizzle, though, is it has D1 support for Cloudflare native. So it's so much easier to implement with Drizzle and Cloudflare than it is to do Prisma and Cloudflare. And that's why Redwood SDK and our V1 they dropped Prisma was because it created so much problems, and it has to do a little bit with Prisma types, but it also has to do with WASM and how all that stuff works with Cloudflare workers, that it was just really complicated and cumbersome and time consuming to integrate. And the fact that Drizzle just has all that offered. Now, Prisma is working on all those things and it will come out because we were talking to the Prisma team, but it's just not quite there yet. The thing is, I know you said Supabase will sell you a bunch of other stuff, but it is nice the fact that you have storage built into that solution. So you're not having to find a database solution and a storage solution. You have all that all together. So
Yeah.
I just become so sold on Cloudflare stuff. The fact that you literally have everything that you need from a server backend perspective right there. The only thing, and we talked about this slightly, maybe off camera, is that because workers don't have a full node engine, there are a few packages that don't work exactly how you would expect them to. Yeah,
I just
there's the
found that
preview.
I found a blog post that this is out.
Sweet. When was the
Oh,
release?
preview,
Yeah,
preview.
preview. That's
Mm.
what I'm saying. It's coming. It's coming, but it's not there yet.
Oh, because Migrate is not compatible. That's right. Migrate is not compatible with D1.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and this is why, like, that would be great to get it on D1 and everything, but I just like the Postgres solution.
Mhm.
Stick a database on your machine, access it with a URL,
Yeah.
stick a database on Prisma's hosted stuff. You know, you
Yeah.
can easily change that environment variable depending on what node env you're running in, and that handles it for it. But yeah, I just thought that the Cloudflare stuff was a little rough with Prisma.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but I don't think Drizzle's terrible. If you've worked with Supabase APIs, it feels very similar to that approach because it's all TypeScript. You're just chaining commands together.
Yeah.
I did look briefly at Keasley, which is what Redwood SDK is now pushing. I haven't bought in on that. You talked about mentioning other podcasters. I know CJ with Syntax is like he loves Keasley, which makes me want to look at Keasley and dig in a little bit because I do trust in his opinion. I do respect his opinion, but there were some things that were strange. Like you with Keasley, you really do have to pay attention to the order that you put those commands for your joins because you have to put those at the beginning so that the rest of your types know that those databases are available. If you don't do it in the right order, then it won't work. And that was
Mm,
a little like, oh, that's kind of,
yeah.
I mean, weird, but I mean, it makes sense.
Do you get the sense that the general React meta framework ecosystem is not that it's slowing down, like people are still making stuff,
Hmm.
but just has it been less impactful over the course of the past year?
That's a good question. I think as much as I love React server components, I really do believe this is the way. I think there is RSC and maybe even React fatigue that people are just like, just kind of tired of it and are ready to settle in. Maybe I'm projecting. Maybe that's me. I just want to settle in on a single solution.
That's me
But
for sure.
I feel that. And it would be interesting to see a lot of okay, we got confirmation in the chat. A lot of the areas for growth, and this is kind of what I was getting at earlier, I feel like are in the back end and talking about how do we integrate with these services? How do we standardize those things and make those easier? Because that's where I feel like you will truly find the Laravel for JavaScript. That when you talk about the Laravel stuff, it's mostly those back end pieces that a lot of times we feel that we're missing or that we have the composability that we have to find services to fill that gap for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think RSC had a long tail, and so there's there wasn't like a big drop of like, "It's here, it's ready, this is how you do it." It
Mhm.
kind of drip fed out in a lot of different ways, and there was a lot of confusion, and therefore I've like kind of detached myself from it.
Yeah.
There's been
And
other releases, like Remix got middleware, Remix supported RSCs, Redwood SDK, like all these things came out, and I'm just like, either I'm just not starting that many new side projects to care enough, or like it's not impacting my existing projects enough for me to care either. Um, Even the React compiler came out and I tried it at work and like it didn't work. So I've just kind of stepped back and said, cool, I like let's just hunker down and
Mhm.
enjoy the relatively quiet period of framework churn while we all wait for Remix 3 to come out in a couple weeks, and then see what,
Oh, yeah.
they're cooking up.
So, I will shoot, I don't know why I had something. Um, yeah, it'll be I'll move on. Sorry, everybody. You're getting the behind the scenes stuff. I have several calls today, so my head's scattered. Um, oh, if you look at how React was releasing in the beginning of its lifetime versus now, the releases have drastically slowed down. For a while, it was like every single week things were happening. Like you get a new release. This is released. I mean, minor and major versions. And now it's like you hardly get that. And they'll announce something like suspense. We were waiting for suspense for years, maybe. We're waiting for RSC for years. So I think that also validates the point that you're trying to make and that the ecosystem is slowing down.
Yep.
I'm super interested to see what Remix comes up with. So they have a big event happening in 2-3 weeks in Toronto. It'll be interesting to see what they unveil. I know that they focused on Preact, which I don't have any experience with Preact either. The way that I understand it is it's a subset of React functionality, but I don't know where that line is drawn.
Yeah, Preact is server rendered React. So I think what they're gonna wind up doing is like use JSX for the templating on the server and then, where you render it and then ship some kind of different interactivity model to the client. I don't know.
Mm.
I will say, I saw Michael Jackson a while back building a ton of like very low level network layer type abstractions. Um, but that doesn't put the whole picture together for me. Like
Mhm.
the Remix Run repo is here, and all the work that they've been doing is like in the open, but
I love that.
it's not, I'm just not, I see a bunch of individual packages. I see, some general like themes here, like AI model first development, build on the web APIs, religiously runtime. So so like they want to eliminate build steps. They want to ship, you know, JavaScript. Um I, I don't know. It's not selling me like a new vision just
Mhm.
yet. I'm sure there's exciting stuff in there, but like I don't
Yeah.
I don't have my head wrapped around it based on this one readme. And that's why I think this whole remix jam in a couple weeks is going to be so like exciting because they
Yeah.
get to pitch that idea.
Yeah. For sure. I wish I could go, but I'll be in Toronto like the week after, so it didn't make sense.
What are you doing in Toronto?
Ooh, I'm gonna be speaking at Unleashed. I think it's called Unleash the
Oh
Web
yeah,
Unleashed, something like
yeah.
that. I'm gonna be giving an RSC talk there, talking about just the gap between adoption and like what we want to see, and talking about some of these hot topics that we're talking about in terms of why haven't people adopted them? What is it going to take for people to adopt them? Why are we kind of burnt out on it? So I'm excited about it. I think it'll be a good talk. I have to write it, but it's a new talk, so I think that that'll get me excited to kind of dig in and think through some of those ideas that I have.
Yeah,
So let's you want to move into the next segment of the show?
definitely.
Okay, let's move into the next segment of the show. This is our picks and plugs section where we pick something that we like and we plug something, generally that we've worked on. So, Brad, do you have any picks and plugs?
Um, Let me see. I am still going strong on Donkey Kong.
Yeah, you are.
Have I
And you
mentioned
said
this
it.
before?
I think you said you were gonna play or you were interested in it, but
Oh yeah, it's real good.
mhm,
Um, I've already beaten the game and I'm working on 100%ing it right now.
you are.
Like finding all the things and like all the bananas and the fossils and all that stuff.
Mhm. Um, and then what about a plug? You can see I'm looking for my pick.
I don't really have a plug. Go to cloudflare.com and try us out. How
Oh,
about
I know
that?
what I'll pick. So I for my pick, this just came in the mail. This is let's see if this is old lady of me. It's a Tom Talk laptop sleeve, and it's super thin. It's basically a sleeve with a pocket. It's made out of recycled water bottles. Has a
Hmm.
little handle on it. Um, but it's super thin. And the reason that I got this was because I have been like going to pick up my kids in the carpool line, and I want to grab my laptop, but I don't want to take my whole bag with me. And I don't want to just take my laptop with me because the kids get in the car and then the laptop goes in the back, and that's scary when it's just floating around in the back with them. So the fact that this has like a little sleeve, it has a little bit of protection, it's just easy to grab with the handle. So I got that just to be able to run out the door for on errands. I can take my laptop, which is also my security blanket, with me. I just love to take my laptop everywhere with me. Henry's like, "You don't need it." And I'm like, "It's good to have just in case."
Yeah, I feel the same there. I'm like, yeah, but then I have it. What if I need it?
I know, right? Right. So, anyways,
You
so
mentioned
far I've enjoyed it.
TomTalk.
Yeah.
TomTalk is my favorite case for like all switches. They have
Ah,
very thin cases, and I don't like to have big thick ones. So I'll link
yeah.
the one that I like here. They made one for Switch 2. It's a
Okay.
little bigger just because the system is bigger.
Yeah.
Like the Switch 1, it was so thin and so easy to
Yeah.
just chuck in there and carry around.
I actually ended up buying several cases for our Switch 2 and then sending several back because they were cheap or it didn't quite work the way that I wanted it to. And it was like, okay, it would be better if I just would use the money. I don't remember the brand that we ended up getting, but I will say in terms of accessories is if you are using the Switch 2, it is a little bit heavier than the Switch 1. So from like an ergonomics standpoint, we ended up getting this um, like plastic holder that you can
Yeah, like
slide in to be able to grip it. And the
yeah.
cool thing about the grip that we have, I will say the only stinky thing is you can't slide it in the charger and the docking station with the grip on it. But the grip does have slots in the back for cards and games. So if you were like on the run, you can have all of that with you and you're not having to necessarily pack extra things. Or if it's actually, I'm not sure if it fits in the case or not, but I was gonna say you have extra slots there.
Yeah,
So
I found that, the Switch 2 generally is, like, harder to hold. I like
yeah.
to hold it with my pinkies on the bottom,
Uh-huh.
and this bigger one, I feel like they want you to hold it like this, but
Oh,
then it
yeah.
slides down, and so I found that
Sure.
the first version of the Switch was, like, so much, but just more portable and slim and easier to hold and
Uh-huh.
handle.
Yeah.
Um,
So we got that little holder. It's great.
yeah,
And I bet
yeah.
if you had a 3D printer, you could 3D print that because there's not much to
Oh, yes, if I had a 3D printer, I could 3D print that. Gabby just walked in, and we've been joking about 3D printers for, like, a long time now.
My son wants one so bad. He's like, "That's, like, all he wants for Christmas." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "They are so expensive." If you get a good one, I'm like, "You need to get a good one if you're
Yeah.
gonna get one."
Yeah, that's right.
One of his friends went to camp this summer, and that was the camp experience. You assembled a 3D printer at camp and then printed things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son would be so into that. I think he's gonna be an engineer. He's very tech-minded,
Yeah.
so we're looking for, like, options for him to, like, do stuff like that.
Oh, so cool. I'll, I was trying to think if we had things Isaac's gotten into, like there's one it's not called GarageBand because that's the Apple program, but there is a Switch game called something like that, and you can make your own games.
Oh.
Or,
Oh, Game Maker or something, right?
yeah, that maybe that's it. I thought it had Garage in it. Um, and then there's a Mario Maker, that one. You can make
Yeah.
your own yeah, you can make your own Mario games. All right. I know we both have meetings today, so that's why we start a little earlier. We got to end a little earlier. But thanks everybody for hanging out. Emma Light, appreciate the comments in the chat. We will be back next week talking about more fun stuff. So if you are listening in your podcatcher of choice, please leave a rating and review. Helps us find great guests and sponsors and do more shows. So in the meantime, that's all we got. All right. Bye, everybody.
See you, chat.